The Droo Empire was a sprawling behemoth of the galaxy, an amalgamation of countless worlds united under a single banner, driven by an insatiable thirst for conquest and dominance. It was a realm defined by its vastness, stretching across star systems, a tapestry woven with the threads of advanced technology and rich cultural heritage. The Droo, tall and imposing with their sleek, elongated forms, were a sight to behold, draped in regal garments that shimmered under the light of distant stars. Their society was meticulously organized, with a rigid caste system that elevated the elite, while the majority toiled in obscurity. Within this empire, power was the currency of life, and ambition was the guiding star. As the Droo Empire expanded, it encountered a variety of species, each with its unique culture and technological prowess. Among these, humanity emerged as a curious anomaly, a young, adaptable race that had only recently begun to explore the cosmos beyond their home planet. They were considered quaint by the Droo, a species too reliant on primitive emotions rather than the cold logic that governed the Droo way of life. The humans, with their diverse backgrounds and passions, stood in stark contrast to the calculated approach of the Droo. Despite their youth and inexperience, humanity was fueled by an unyielding spirit and a fierce determination to carve out their place in the galaxy. In a pivotal moment, the leaders of the human colonies, having gathered intelligence about an impending cosmic catastrophe, sought an audience with the Droo hierarchy. The meeting was set within the opulent halls of the Droo Empire's capital, a breathtaking architectural marvel of shimmering spires and intricate designs. The human delegation, led by a seasoned diplomat known for her tenacity, approached the assembly with a mixture of hope and trepidation. They were met with an air of skepticism, as the Droo leaders regarded the humans with a blend of disdain and amusement. As the diplomat presented the evidence of a looming threat, a powerful cosmic event capable of destabilizing entire star systems, her words echoed in the Grand Chamber. The data was compelling, showcasing unusual energy signatures and alarming trends in cosmic behavior. The human representatives painted a vivid picture of the chaos that awaited the Droo Empire if they chose to ignore these warnings. Yet, despite the weight of the evidence, the Droo remained unmoved. Their arrogance clouded their judgment, and they scoffed at the notion that a minor race like humanity could hold insights into cosmic phenomena beyond their understanding. "Why should we heed the counsel of a lesser species?" one of the Droo lords sneered, his voice dripping with condescension. "Our empire stands unchallenged, and your fears are but whispers in the vastness of space." The room fell silent, the weight of his words hanging heavily in the air. The human diplomat's heart sank, yet she pressed on, emphasizing the importance of unity in the face of potential extinction. Despite her impassioned plea, the Droo leaders chose to dismiss the warning, believing their empire invulnerable to any threat, even one as monumental as the impending cosmic upheaval. Instead, they continued their expansionist agenda, ignoring the cracks that began to appear in the fabric of their vast empire. They sent ships to conquer new worlds, while humanity retreated, knowing that they had done all they could. The warnings fell on deaf ears, and the humans were left to wonder what the future would hold for them in a galaxy ruled by such hubris. Back in the human colonies, a sense of dread settled among the populace. News of the Droo's dismissal spread, igniting a firestorm of concern. The humans gathered in forums, strategizing and sharing ideas about how to prepare for the worst. They couldn't rely on the Droo anymore. Their fate was now in their hands. Despite their fears, the humans resolved to unite, pooling their resources and knowledge to bolster their defenses against any potential fallout from the looming disaster. They knew they had to be vigilant and prepared for any eventuality. Days turned into weeks as the cosmic anomaly grew closer, and scientists from various human factions worked tirelessly to monitor the situation. They developed technologies aimed at understanding the fluctuations in energy that had been detected. Simultaneously, they sought to strengthen alliances with other species, hoping to create a coalition that would stand together against the impending doom. The resolve of humanity grew stronger. They were determined to protect not just themselves but also their way of life. Meanwhile, the Droo Empire continued its relentless march toward expansion, blissfully unaware of the chaos that awaited them. New conquests were celebrated with lavish ceremonies, and the aristocracy reveled in their perceived superiority. Yet, Within the shadows of their empire, whispers of dissent grew among the scientific community. Many of the Droo scientists, alarmed by the unheeded warnings and the growing anomalies, began to question their leader's wisdom. They understood the gravity of the situation and sought to be heard, but their voices were drowned out by the cacophony of power and privilege. As tensions mounted, the cosmic event drew nearer. Reports of strange occurrences from the far reaches of the Empire started to filter in, and fear began to seep into the hearts of even the most steadfast Droo lords. Strange gravitational fluctuations destabilized planetary orbits, and entire fleets vanished without a trace. Panic spread like wildfire among the common Droo, leading to whispers of a curse or divine retribution. Yet, the ruling elite, blinded by pride, continued to ignore the warnings, believing they could quell the chaos with sheer force. In stark contrast, the humans found solace in their unity. They pooled their knowledge, created contingency plans, and fortified their defenses. They embraced the idea that collaboration and understanding could stave off disaster. While the Droo turned inward, confident in their might, humanity reached out, establishing communications with distant worlds. The galaxy began to see humanity not as a fledgling race but as a vital player in a broader cosmic narrative. As the storm clouds of disaster loomed on the horizon, the Droo Empire remained steadfast in its arrogance, oblivious to the signs that foretold their impending doom. The humans, resolute and ready, prepared for what was to come. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy forever, and as the clock ticked down to catastrophe, the question lingered: who would emerge from the chaos, and who would be left behind? As the cosmic anomaly approached, unusual energy readings began to ripple through the fabric of the galaxy. Observatories across human colonies detected strange gravitational shifts, causing a mix of excitement and dread. Scientists noted patterns that defied known physics, warning of potential disaster. Reports flooded in from various star systems, indicating that entire planets were experiencing destabilization. The phenomenon seemed to be spreading, a malignant force that could threaten all life if left unchecked. The human scientific community sprang into action, pooling their resources to analyze the data. Teams of astrophysicists and engineers collaborated, employing advanced technology to decode the mystery behind the growing disturbances. In makeshift labs, they built models of the potential impact, each simulation painting a bleak picture of chaos. It became evident that the anomaly was more than just a cosmic event. It was an awakening force that could tear apart the very fabric of space-time. Meanwhile, the Droo Empire remained unfazed by these developments. Their expansionist agenda continued unabated, with new conquests celebrated in grand ceremonies. The Droo aristocracy, cloaked in their hubris, dismissed the increasingly frantic reports from their own scientific community. They perceived the anomalies as mere distractions, the stuff of superstition and fear. "We are the masters of the galaxy," declared a prominent lord, his voice echoing through the marble halls of power. "Nothing can challenge our might." Yet, deep within the heart of the Droo Empire, discontent simmered among the scientists. Frustrated by the elite's refusal to heed their warnings, a faction of the Droo scientific community convened in secret. They were determined to find a solution, believing that acknowledging the truth could save their civilization. They gathered evidence, hoping to convince the aristocracy before it was too late. Their leader, a brilliant but marginalized scientist named Dr. Velik, passionately outlined the potential repercussions of the cosmic disturbances during their clandestine meetings. Dr. Velik's warnings resonated with his peers. "If we do not act now, we will face the consequences of our ignorance," he implored. "The energy signatures indicate a catastrophic shift in the fabric of reality itself. We must alert the leaders, unify our resources, and prepare for the worst." His colleagues nodded, sharing glances filled with fear and resolve. They understood the stakes, yet the challenge ahead loomed large. As human scientists tirelessly worked to decipher the anomalies, they sought to forge alliances with other species. Their message spread across the galaxy, calling for unity in the face of impending doom. Small diplomatic delegations traveled to neighboring star systems, sharing their findings and urging cooperation. Humanity's efforts began to bear fruit as other species recognized the threat posed by the Droo Empire's arrogance. Though they had once been viewed as a lesser race, humanity's resilience shone through in their determination to confront the crisis head-on. They reached out to former rivals and friends alike, seeking to create a coalition. Discussions blossomed among different species, and soon a network of communication was established. The galaxy began to unite against a common threat, driven by a shared desire for survival. Back in the Droo Empire, as the anomalies intensified, unease crept into the ranks of the aristocracy. The leaders could no longer ignore the reports flooding in from their scientists. Fleets vanished during routine patrols, and entire systems fell silent, their communications severed. Panic rippled through the nobility, yet their pride kept them from admitting weakness. "We must reaffirm our strength," a lord suggested, advocating for military posturing instead of addressing the growing chaos. "A show of force will quell any dissent and restore order." But Dr. Velik and his fellow scientists pressed on, desperate to garner attention for their cause. They drafted a comprehensive report detailing the impending catastrophe and presented it to the Droo Council in a bold move. "This is not merely a human concern," Dr. Velik declared passionately. "The fate of our entire empire hangs in the balance. We must act now." His plea, however, was met with skepticism. Many council members dismissed the report as alarmist, unwilling to consider that the Droo might be vulnerable. As the cosmic anomaly continued its inexorable approach, the reality of the situation became clearer. Reports of gravitational anomalies escalated, and rumors of fleets vanishing became common gossip. On the fringes of the Empire, entire worlds experienced strange phenomena: rifts in the atmosphere, intense storms, and sudden earthquakes. These signs indicated a planet's impending doom, and fear swept through the lower castes of the Droo society. They whispered tales of a curse, of retribution for their hubris, as fear crept into their hearts. Meanwhile, the human coalition grew stronger, pooling resources and knowledge to prepare for the worst. They developed contingency plans to protect their colonies and initiated training programs to bolster defense forces. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, developing countermeasures against the growing threat. The humans had no intention of standing idle. They were determined to take action, not just for their survival but for the galaxy itself. As the cosmic anomaly reached its peak, the Droo Empire remained locked in a cycle of arrogance and denial. In their luxurious chambers, the aristocrats celebrated victories, oblivious to the chaos enveloping their empire. The celebrations, however, felt hollow as whispers of discontent echoed in the shadows. Dr. Velik and his allies continued to push for a meeting with the highest echelons of power, urging them to confront the unfolding disaster. The hourglass of time slipped away, and the cosmic anomaly began to manifest its full potential. Disturbances rippled through the galaxy, and the dread that had settled in the hearts of the human coalition grew into a roaring wave of urgency. With every passing day, the reality of the situation became more dire. They understood that the time for diplomacy was quickly running out, and if the Droo Empire refused to listen, the galaxy would soon pay the price. As the clock ticked down to catastrophe, humanity stood united, ready to face the chaos that loomed. The Droo Empire, in its pride and stubbornness, hurtled toward oblivion, blind to the signs that had been written across the cosmos. And as the storm approached, the question lingered: could arrogance be their undoing? While humanity stood resolute in the face of annihilation, the cosmic anomaly had finally reached a critical point, and its effects began to manifest with catastrophic force. Without warning, a massive energy wave surged through the Droo Empire, triggering a series of violent tremors across multiple planets. The fabric of space-time began to warp, and vessels that once soared through the stars suddenly vanished without a trace. Entire fleets, sent forth on routine missions, disappeared into the void, leaving behind only echoes of their existence. Chaos erupted as the realization dawned on the Droo: they were not invincible. In the heart of the Empire, the elite gathered in panic. Their grandiose halls, once filled with the sounds of celebration and triumph, now echoed with cries of confusion and fear. Reports of the disaster flooded in from every corner of the Empire. Droo commanders, who had once confidently issued orders with little thought of failure, found themselves scrambling to salvage their fleets. Panic gripped the aristocracy as they tried to maintain control over a spiraling situation, but their efforts were in vain. Meanwhile, Dr. Velek and his group of scientists worked frantically to make sense of the chaos. They coordinated with their contacts across the Empire, gathering data and attempting to analyze the anomaly's patterns. As they pieced together the puzzle, the horrifying truth became apparent: the Droo Empire was on the brink of collapse. The anomaly was not just a random cosmic event, it was a sentient force, targeting the Empire's structures and shaking the foundations of their existence. In the human colonies, the news of the Droo's calamity spread like wildfire. While fear lingered, a newfound sense of purpose ignited among humanity. They understood that the crisis presented an opportunity for unity and strength, not just for themselves, but for the galaxy at large. Their coalition, once formed out of desperation, now morphed into a potent alliance. Individuals who had previously seen themselves as rivals came together, pooling their resources and knowledge for a common cause. Amid the chaos, human diplomats continued to communicate with other species, urging them to prepare for the fallout of the Droo Empire's collapse. The humans recognized that the cosmic anomaly could threaten more than just the Droo. It had the potential to disrupt the entire galaxy. They sought to build an interspecies task force, pooling military and scientific resources to address the impending disaster head-on. It was a bold move, and many species rallied to the call, motivated by the urgency of the situation. As the anomaly intensified, the Droo Empire descended further into turmoil. Reports of entire cities being swallowed by rifts in space-time reached the aristocracy. Desperate lords attempted to restore order, but their efforts were futile. The people began to lose faith in their leaders, and fear transformed into anger. Riots broke out in the streets, and the lower classes, once obedient and subservient, demanded answers. "How could this happen?" they shouted, their voices echoing against the stone walls of their once mighty empire. Dr. Velek seized this moment of unrest. With the support of his fellow scientists, he made a daring move. He publicly addressed the people, broadcasting a message across the empire. "We must acknowledge our errors. We dismissed the warnings, and now we face the consequences. We must unite if we are to survive." His call for unity resonated with many, stirring a glimmer of hope in a sea of despair. At the same time, humanity and its allies prepared for the worst. They conducted drills and simulations, strategizing on how to respond to the fallout from the Droo's calamity. They established emergency protocols to protect their colonies and devised plans to assist those who would inevitably flee the Empire. As the human coalition stood ready, they fortified their defenses and embraced the spirit of cooperation. No longer would they be seen as a lesser race. They were becoming leaders in a galaxy poised for upheaval. Back in the Droo Empire, the rifts continued to widen, tearing apart the very essence of their civilization. Entire systems experienced gravitational collapses, plunging them into darkness. Ships that attempted to navigate through the chaos were met with destruction, their crews lost to the abyss. The nobility, once so confident in their superiority, now found themselves scrambling for survival. As panic escalated, factions within the Empire began to form, each vying for control amidst the growing chaos. Desperation led to infighting among the aristocracy, as blame shifted from one lord to another. While some called for a retreat, others demanded more aggressive tactics to reassert their dominance. The infighting weakened their position, allowing the voice of dissent to grow louder. Dr. Velek saw an opportunity to galvanize the people, urging them to rise against the arrogance that had led them to this point. His words ignited a spark of rebellion among those who had suffered under the weight of the Empire's hubris. As the chaos unfolded, the human coalition extended an olive branch to the disillusioned Droo citizens. They offered assistance, promising sanctuary and aid to those willing to break free from the oppressive grip of their leaders. This gesture marked a turning point, as many Droo began to see the humans not as rivals, but as allies in a fight for survival. Slowly, the tides began to turn. Defections occurred, and pockets of resistance emerged within the Empire, banding together with humans to face the storm. With each passing day, the rifts deepened, and the cosmic anomaly grew in intensity. Humanity watched, poised to act when the moment came. They understood that the collapse of the Droo Empire could create a power vacuum in the galaxy, one that needed to be filled with cooperation and unity, rather than chaos and destruction. They prepared for a new chapter, one where alliances would be forged in the crucible of conflict, and where the lessons learned would reshape the destiny of the galaxy. As the final days of the Droo Empire approached, Dr. Velek continued to advocate for collaboration, reaching out to both the ruling elite and the discontented masses. The reality of the situation could no longer be denied. The Empire faced an existential crisis, and unless they found a way to unite, extinction loomed on the horizon. The impending disaster served as a stark reminder that hubris could not shield them from the consequences of their actions. With humanity standing ready, the stage was set for a showdown against the forces of the anomaly and the dying remnants of the Droo Empire. It was a moment that would determine the fate of countless lives, one where unity would either triumph over arrogance or succumb to the chaos of the cosmos. The clock was ticking, and soon the galaxy would witness the fallout of an empire's pride and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to rise against it. As the cosmic anomaly reached its climax, the galaxy stood on the precipice of upheaval. The Droo Empire, once a formidable power, was now a chaotic storm of panic and desperation. Rifts continued to expand, devouring entire planets and fleets, and reports of unprecedented destruction inundated the once imposing halls of the Droo aristocracy. The fragile facade of invincibility crumbled as the lords, now cornered by the very chaos they had dismissed, scrambled for solutions. Yet their internal conflicts rendered them incapable of a unified response. In stark contrast, the human coalition had coalesced into a formidable force, united by a singular purpose: survival. With their allies, they worked tirelessly to prepare for the inevitable fallout from the Droo Empire's collapse. They strategized on how to harness the chaos for the benefit of all species, recognizing that the opportunity to reshape the galaxy was within their grasp. Meetings among leaders of various species became common, as they shared insights and devised plans to confront the impending crisis. Dr. Velek's voice echoed throughout the remnants of the Droo Empire, a beacon of hope amid despair. He called for the aristocracy to abandon their pride and join forces with the human coalition, emphasizing that cooperation was the only path forward. "We cannot face this storm alone," he implored during a broadcast. "If we do not unite, we will be consumed by our arrogance." His impassioned plea found an audience among the disenchanted Droo citizens, many of whom were eager for change and saw the possibility of redemption in collaboration with humanity. As divisions deepened within the Droo aristocracy, defections from the elite began to emerge. Disillusioned lords and ladies started to align with Dr. Velek, recognizing the futility of their previous arrogance. They understood that the time for change was now, as the cosmic anomaly ravaged their world. With every ship that vanished and every system that fell silent, the urgency for action grew. The Droo who once scoffed at humanity began to see their resilience and adaptability as valuable assets rather than weaknesses. Meanwhile, the human coalition solidified its plans to harness the chaos. They established emergency protocols to aid displaced Droo citizens and those seeking refuge from the collapsing empire. The message was clear: they would not stand idly by while lives were lost. Humanitarian efforts flourished as various species came together to provide food, shelter, and medical assistance. The galaxy began to transform from a battleground of rivalries into a sanctuary for those affected by the disaster. As the last remnants of the Droo Empire faced the onslaught of destruction, a convergence of hope and desperation unfolded. With Dr. Velek's guidance, a meeting was arranged between the coalition and the Droo leadership willing to break free from their elite shackles. This gathering marked a turning point, a moment where the possibility of unity danced on the horizon. The stakes were clear: either they embraced cooperation and faced the storm together, or they would be obliterated by their past mistakes. The atmosphere was charged with tension as representatives from both factions assembled. The human leaders expressed empathy, acknowledging the plight of the Droo. They presented the coalition's vision, a galaxy rebuilt on principles of cooperation and shared knowledge, where species work together to confront challenges rather than succumb to arrogance. The humans stressed the importance of collaboration, reinforcing that they were not conquerors but allies in the fight for survival. Yet, even amidst this hopeful dialogue, the remnants of Droo arrogance lingered. Some elite members were resistant to the idea of surrendering their power. They clung to the belief that the Empire could be salvaged through sheer force. "We must rally our fleets and reclaim our dominance," one lord proclaimed, his voice filled with defiance. But the majority, inspired by Dr. Velik's impassioned advocacy, countered that true strength lay in unity, not isolation. As discussions intensified, the cosmic anomaly unleashed its fury once more. Rifts multiplied, consuming entire star systems in a matter of moments. The destruction was breathtaking yet terrifying, a vivid reminder of what was at stake. The human coalition and the Droo leadership recognized that time was running out. The anomaly would not wait for the aristocracy to choose between pride and survival. It demanded action. In a historic moment of courage, the majority of the Droo leadership aligned with Dr. Velik. They acknowledged the wisdom of collaboration and agreed to join forces with the human coalition. "Together, we can create a new destiny for our people," Dr. Velik urged, hope infusing his words. "We will not only survive, we will thrive as allies." His vision resonated with many, and slowly, a renewed spirit emerged from the ashes of despair. As the newly formed alliance prepared for the inevitable confrontation with the cosmic anomaly, strategies took shape. The coalition harnessed the technological advancements of various species, integrating their knowledge to devise countermeasures against the devastating force. Together, they created a network of ships, a unified fleet capable of addressing the anomalies and saving those who still lingered in danger. With each passing day, the lines that once divided species faded. The human coalition stood alongside the Droo, united by a common purpose. The arrogance that had once fueled the Empire's expansion began to dissipate, replaced by a commitment to coexistence. As they fortified their fleet and strategized their approach, an air of determination filled the hearts of both humans and Droo alike. The moment of truth arrived as the anomaly reached its zenith. The unified fleet, a testament to newfound solidarity, prepared to engage with the chaotic force. Dr. Velik and the coalition leaders stood at the helm, united by a singular resolve, to confront the storm and protect the galaxy from annihilation. The battle would not be fought with weapons alone, it would be a clash of wills, ideologies, and the very essence of cooperation. As the fleet advanced toward the heart of the anomaly, a cacophony of energy surged around them. The very fabric of reality trembled, but the alliance stood firm. They understood that their combined strength, fueled by the lessons of their past, would be their greatest weapon. In that moment of clarity, they recognized that they were not just fighting for survival. They were redefining the fate of the galaxy, forging a future where unity triumphed over arrogance. In the midst of chaos, a new narrative was born, one that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come. Together, they faced the storm, embodying the belief that true strength lies in collaboration. The Droo Empire, once a symbol of arrogance and isolation, had transformed into a beacon of hope, proving that even the most formidable obstacles could be overcome through unity. As they advanced into the maelstrom, the galaxy held its breath, ready to witness the dawn of a new era.